guys, welcome back to another episode of Muddy River Catfishing. So today I want to teach you guys how to make your own stink bait. And it's pretty fun, pretty easy to do. You only need a few ingredients to make it. Stink baits, they've been around for a long time. You've got all kinds of different ones, you know, punch baits, dip baits, dough baits, stink baits, and they're all kind of variations of a basic recipe. It just all kind of depends on what you want out of it and what you put into it. So a real simple recipe is what I'm going to teach you right now, and it's it's a cheese base. It's a cheese base bait. If you look, do a little research, you're going to find all kinds of baits, and I'll show you a few pictures. I know Catfish Charlie's and Secret 7, and there's a few other ones out there, and one of the main ingredients is cheese. So with that in mind, I went out and I just bought some cheese. I went down to the deli, I bought a little bit of cheese. This one actually is roasted garlic cheese, and of course you guys know that garlic is an attractant and catfish seem to like it. So we're just going to take some roasted garlic cheese. If you don't have access to that, any cheese will do. You can add garlic if you want to. The good thing about this bait is that you can make it your own. You can add anything you want to it, create it however you think is going to work best for you. And even in some literature that I was reading way back, I think it was a book made in the 60s, they're talking about Limburg cheese, because it smells so bad, mixing that with dead minnows, smashing up minnows, mixing it in. So just keep that in mind when you're making your bait. Think about what you want to put in it and how you want to create it to make it your own. So what we're going to do, I've got a little burner over here with just a little pot. Nothing fancy. I'm going to use some of this non-stick oil spray, and when we're done with it, I found these little ice cube maker trays that they're the perfect size. It's going to give you a little round bait like that. It's going to have a bullet shape to it. I bought these at the I think it was the dollar store. I found them. So one thing that you might want to add to it is some type of fiber to hold it together, make it a little bit stronger. I have some here. You can use cotton, you can use cattails, you can use all kinds of stuff. Just make sure whatever you're using is not harmful to the environment. All right. So this fiber that I'm using is it's made out of a cellulose, and it's a natural fiber. So pretty much that's it. I have one more ingredient, and I'll explain it to you when we get there. But other than that, pretty cut and dry. So let's get started, and let's see how I make this bait. Alright, so first things first, we're going to turn this on, and we're going to put it on low. You want to go low. You don't want to get it too hot, because then you're going to start cooking the cheese, and you don't want to do that. If you can imagine like a fondue, it's just a real low heat that keeps the cheese melting. So we're just going to spray that down. And it's going to be a fairly slow process, so we'll cut through to it a little bit, but I've got this cheese, and you can see this is the one that has the garlic in it, which if you smell it, you can smell that garlic. So I'm going to just start putting a few in here. And the good thing about this bait is you can make it out of old cheese that's starting to go bad in the house that you don't really have any use for. And instead of throwing it out, you just make a bait with it. I want to get something to stir it with. I got this shim. You can tell I've used it before. Made a couple batches of this bait. Make sure you don't use a regular house spoon or something that you're gonna use later, because this stuff will end up sticking and stinking real bad. So we're just melting the cheese. Give it just a little bit more heat. Yeah, it's starting to melt just right. Look at that. Yeah, like I said, it's a slow process. You gotta melt this cheese down just right. You don't want to do it too fast on high heat, because you'll end up burning it, and that's not what we want. So I'll just keep adding cheese to it. Alright, while that cheese is melting a little bit, let me tell you about the other ingredient that I have that I want to add to this cheese. This is what I make that I find that works for me quite well. And what I have here, I'm even afraid to open it. What I have here is this stuff's strong. But what it is dehydrated chicken liver. And what I did is I bought me a little dehydrator, and I got some chicken liver, put it on there, dehydrated it, and I mean completely dehydrated it to where it would just crumble. Then you take that and you put it in a blender and you just crush it up to a fine powder, and that's what that is. And I gotta warn you though, if you try that, please don't do it in your house or even anywhere near your house, because that stuff stinks so bad. It smells. The smell is unbelievable. But that's why it's so potent, it's so powerful, it's so strong smelling. And you really don't need a whole lot when you make your bait. But keeping that in mind, you can use that concept with anything you want. You could probably dehydrate leftover shad bait or skipjack or whatever you have that doesn't look like it's gonna produce anymore, but yet if you put it in a dehydrator, dry it out, turn it into a powder, you could add it to your stink bait, and chances are it's probably gonna work. Now these stink baits, they're I would have to say they're mainly directed for channel cats, and the channel cats that you're gonna catch are probably eating size fish, you know. That's pretty much what I've caught with stink baits. But catfish are unpredictable creatures, and you never know what would bite on what. And I'm actually going to do a video talking about baits and explaining all my theories and concepts about it to you here in the future. But for now, we're going to work on the stink bait, and this is how it's coming together. Let's see how that cheese is going. I'm going to go ahead and start adding some of that fiber to it. And here you can see that fiber. It's just real fine pieces of thread or looking stuff, you know. So I just separate it and put it in there. Little at a time. so that cheese is nice and melted now. So I'm saying it's ready for the any other additive that you want to put in there. If you want to put garlic salt or whatever you got going on, now's the time to do it. Now that it's nice and melted. Now I'm going to add this to it, but keep in mind that catfish, their whole body is covered with what are called chemoreceptors, and it's basically a fancy name for taste buds. It's true that they use their whiskers to taste, but their actual whole entire body is covered with taste buds. So you don't have to make the bait extremely smelly to the point where it's just reeking. Just add enough where it gives it a nice strong scent that the fish are going to pick up on. You don't want to make it to the point where it's unpleasant for you to use as a bait. So let me go ahead and add a little bit of this to the. Alright. So here goes this chicken liver. And I'd say that right there is probably plenty. Maybe just a little bit more. Now just fold that in there. And I'm doing this out here in the shop because you don't want to make this stuff inside the house. Like I said, it'll get pretty smelly. Alright, so now we've got our additives in there. It mixed up really nice. I can smell it, but it's not overbearing, powerful. So all that's left now is to spread it out into our trays and make the actual baits themselves. So let's go ahead and do that. It said on the package that each one of these trays holds 60 ice cubes. So in this case it'll be 60 pieces of bait. Alright guys, so we've got our baits made, put in these trays. Now all we have left to do is cool these things. And you can see I've almost got 2 full trays here, so that's plenty of bait. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to put them in the refrigerator and let them cool probably overnight. And then tomorrow I'll take them out, show you what they look like, and I'll show you how to put them on, how I put them on the hook anyway. So let me get these in the fridge, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Alright guys, so I let the bait sit in the refrigerator overnight, and it's hardened up again. And you can see it. It's in there. Pretty good. So now we're just going to take them out of there and just put them in a Ziploc bag. So let's take them out of here. That's what it's looking like. Alright guys, so as you can see, this is our finished product right here. I've got probably 100 baits from the 2 batches that we made. And keep in mind that it is cheese, so the heat factor is going to play a part in on how well your bait keeps. What I would recommend is keep it in a bag like that. Keep it refrigerated until you're ready to go fishing. Or if you're going to make some and keep it long term, go ahead and freeze it. You can freeze cheese, no problem. Thaw it out a day or two before you go and just keep it cool. I'll keep mine in an ice chest, and it keeps it firm. And you can see this is what the bait looks like. It's got that bullet shape from the ice cube tray, and then it has the fiber in it, which is going to help hold it together. I don't know if you can see that or not, but anyways, that's what the bait's going to look like. And if you want to put it on your hook, this is how I do it. You just take a treble hook, and I try to match my treble hook to the size of the bait, just by seeing if it's gonna be about the right size, and this one is. So what I do is I take my line and I drop it back like this. Then I'll push my bait through the eye like that. Set it right on the bait. Right on the treble hook. Then I'll take my line and pull it back up to the top. Like that. And you can rub that. The fiber will help seal that area that you cut the bait open with. There it is, sitting perfectly on that treble hook. So this is the recipe that I use to make stink baits. Now keep in mind, it's just a basic recipe. The stuff I added into it is the stuff I like to add, but the options are unlimited. You know, you can put anything you want in there that you think might help attract fish. I hear a lot of people catching fish on hot dogs. I'll actually be doing a video about that later. But if you want to grind up some hot dog, throw it in, mix it up, or some chicken liver blood, or whatever you think that might work. Experiment with it a little bit, try it out, and hopefully it'll work for you. Also, I wanted to mention to you guys a channel that I really like. If you guys like a little bit of fishing and some cooking tips, stuff like that, my friend Juanello, he's got his channel out there, and he goes out on a little lake that he's got and does some bluegill fishing, crappie fishing, stuff like that, and then he'll actually show you how to cook it, and a lot of low carb stuff like that. If you're looking for recipes, he's got a lot of them. So check out Juanello, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.